So we were talking about the real-time communication, right? So the merits we have discussed, it provides instant communication support agents, it enhances customer satisfaction with quick response and can be integrated into websites and applications. So the demerits here is it requires staffing for real-time responses. It can be having a high volume of inquiries and may not be suitable for complex issues. So this was the all about the modern communication tools, advantages and disadvantages. I hope it might have made give you a clear thought of idea like what every communication tool having its strengths and weaknesses. So further we'll talk about webinars when we are talking about the real time communication. In webinars what happens is it when we talk about merit, it enables real time presentations and interactive sessions. It also engages large audiences remotely. Yeah, like we can reach the masses. Or if the we are creating any webinar, if we are hosting any webinar, we can have a huge audience there from different locations, right? So other benefit can be it is useful for training, marketing, and education purpose. The demerits here can be it requires preparation and effective presentation skills. It is dependent on stable internet connectivity and time zone difference can affect participation. So this is all about the communication, modern communication tool. This was the merit and demerits of each and every tool we have discussed, and I hope the concept of modern communication tool must be clear to you all. It is all about the we can say internet and technology. We have to keep ourselves updated about the technology, right? So without discussing more on it, I would like to come to the other topic in this, that is barriers to modern communication and the solutions to overcome it. So now we'll be talking here about what are the barriers to modern communication and how we can overcome those. So, when we talk about modern communication, it faces several barriers, which includes technological barriers, language barriers, and many more. So, we'll be discussing it one by one. Let's start with technological barriers. When we talk about technological barriers, the issue which came here is of poor internet connectivity, hardware malfunction, or incompatible software can disrupt communication, right? So these problems can come when we talk about the technological barriers because as the name suggests, technology is sometimes acting as an obstacle between communication. The language barrier here includes difference in language proficiency or technical jargons which are used by the experts and can hinder the understanding of a common person, right? The other type of barrier comes is the cultural barriers. When we talk about cultural barriers, so it includes different cultural norms and communication styles, which leads to misunderstanding or misinterpretations, right? So, as people are from different cultural backgrounds in an organization, so their communication style and norms may be different, which might in turn leads to miscommunication or misunderstanding or sometimes misunderstanding and misinterpretation as well. Next comes is these psychological barriers. These includes the attitude, the perceptions and emotions that affect how our messages are sent and received. So it is also based on the people's personality, how they are perceiving something, what attitude they are showing in response in terms of any situation. So, this in turn is totally, as we have discussed in the psychological barriers in traditional communication. So, here over also the attitude, perception, and emotions affect equally, right? Next comes is the physical barriers. The physical barriers here includes distance, time zones, the geographical time zones, or environmental factors which can make communication difficult. For example, thunderstorm or any disaster which is creating some satellite issue or some internet connectivity issue, like too much of rain if there is. So all these things can also as a physical barriers leading to environmental factors also. So these were the barriers to modern communication. So let's see how can we overcome it, what solutions can we provide to it. So to overcome these barriers, what we have to do is we have to use technology wisely. We must ensure that we are using a very reliable communication tools and platforms which have good backup and which is also helpful for effective communication. The other solution can be clarify language and terms. We must use simplify concepts, simplify terms to check the understanding of the receiver, must use easy language so that the people can understand the information clearly. Must learn about the cultures of other people. Cultural sensitivity is also a solution, as we have to adapt communication styles. We have to respect the perspective of different people and also be open to the cultural differences so that we can respect them and overcome the barriers which is hampering in effective communication. The next comes is build trust and rapport. Foster open communication where people feel comfortable to communicate about their thoughts, their opinions, and there must be a good bond uh, between two people, between the people who are doing conversation, right? So it also fosters creativity. It helps in active listening. Be an active listener because this will help you to overcome the barriers, to overcome the misunderstanding and understands other in a very proper manner. You must establish a feedback mechanism, establish a clear feedback channels to ensure that messages are received and understood very correctly. Training and development, provide training on effective communication techniques, including cross cultural communication and using communication tools effectively. That means must impart a good training on how to communicate effectively, use proper language, use proper body language. Your communication should be effective verbal as well as non-verbal. Focus on your eye contact, focus on your body language, your facial expressions, and also respect the cross cultural communication styles. Also, respect the perspective of different people. By addressing these barriers and proactively overcoming these barriers, organization can enhance communication effectiveness and productivity in modern settings, right? So what we can say, by building trust, by listening actively, by giving a proper feedback, and by imparting training, we can communicate effectively using modern tools of communication. This not only will help in to grow personally, but will also help us to grow professionally, to inculcate soft skills as well as a very good technological applicability also, right? So we must try to inculcate these skills so as to so as to give proper communication effectively without um, acting as a barrier in the communication. So this completes the today's session. We'll meet you in the next session with some new topics. Thank you.